Welcome back to my YouTube channel, my live stream. This is Jacob Cass, 2024, doing Monday Night Raw review, a live stream. This will be like an hour and 10 minutes. Hit that like button, leave a comment, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all the support. Just let me know in the comment section below what you guys think of this. Let me know if y'all want to see more. This is Jacob Cat 2024. My video is sponsored by Salamat Sound Off, Fight for Pro Wrestling, JD from New York, and other podcasters and YouTubers that I know of. This live stream will be like an hour and 10 minutes. We will talk about some news and rumors in WWE. Road Dogg quit. We'll talk about, Cody Rhodes. He won the WWE title with so many dislikes and so many fan outrage. And then the backlash with Jade Cargill. Now, gonna go to the gauntlet match. We got Io Sky. I think all that mattered was the damn gauntlet match. Ivy Nile defeated Io Sky. Oh, actually, should I even go into all this? Or is there even more? Pretty sure it's just the gauntlet match that really matters. Come over there. Yeah, so we got Io Sky defeated Lyra Valkyria. Ivy Nile defeated Io Sky. Oh, actually, wait, we had Io Sky versus, actually, wait, should I even do any of this? It was actually Io Sky defeating Raquel Rodriguez. And then we got Io Sky, and then Ivy Nile. Hold on, I'm just gonna take a while here. Alright. And then we got Bayley defeat Ivy Nile. And then Bayley won the gauntlet match. So she will face AJ Lee for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, I assume, at WrestleMania. And that does make sense. I don't know why they allow men and women to fight each other. Yeah. So after Bayley won, she celebrated with Lyra. Bayley and Lyra were still tag team champ. Are still like a team, are still friends. We also got a brawl with Maxine Dupree return. She attacked Natalia. And then we got D. Hudson. He curses Grand Americano. And then we got Penta. He celebrated the Intercontinental Championship. They won last week from Dominic. We don't know who's he going to challenge or who's he going to face or if he's going to defend it at WrestleMania. I hope he does. But we just don't know. But we did get him defeating Grande Americano. I don't think they said it before the title. I would think get rid of the Grande Americano shit. Alright. And their Judgment Day turned on Finn Balor. We did get a pretty good promo vignette with Stephanie Valkyrie to Liv Morgan. I will see more in you than you do. She was speaking in different languages. Now, as I said, it was a backstage segment with Dan Hudson curses the original Grande Americano and poorly. I actually don't like that, by the way. They cursing people. Penta defeat Grande Americano in this match. Oh, so this match was for the Intercontinental title. Penta actually retained here in a very good match. I hear Judgement Day about Tom Balor.
That maybe your dad was right. Maybe you are just a spoiled little.
JD trying to defuse the situation here. Oh, wait a minute. And a slim blade to Dominic. Oh, Finn snapped. Oh, and intercepted by JD McDonough. And I'm shocked at JD. Everything Finn's done for him in his career. And now a 4-on-1 assault at Balor. Listen, I'm not a massive Finn Balor fan, but he does not deserve this. What happened to being a family? Balor was right. Unfortunately, he's the odd man out. Well, Dominic now with a steel chair, and he's got that hammer. The hammer that he wanted last week, but Finn Balor prevented JD McDonough from giving to him. And Finn trying to fight back. Trying to preserve his livelihood here. Oh, and right off the face. Enough is enough. Balor is absolutely helpless. The Judgment Day has completely turned their back on Finn Balor. And a frog splash by Mysterio to a defenseless Balor. JD McDonough, everything Finn's done for him in his career. This kid, JD McDonough, is here today because of Finn Balor. He's in this business because of Finn Balor. And now he continues to pound away on Balor. Morgan and Raquel looking on, involved in this as well, trying to keep the officials at bay. Now, another frog splash to the steel chair. Mysterio tonight. But Dominic Mysterio did what he always does.
What was interesting, where's Roxanne Perez? Is she hurt? Is she taking a week off or something? She's also part of Judgment Day. It's about time that we finally get Finn Balor away from the Judgment Day. About time they turned on him. That could be a match for WrestleMania. And it does set up for Balor might take a week off, and then whenever Dominic is defending the Triple Mega Championship on the Triple H show against Vikingo, that does set for Balor to come in and cost them the title. And then we'll get Balor and Dominic at WrestleMania. Bloodline reunion at Mania. Uso demands CM Punk apology. Alright. Now let's go into some of my YouTubers and podcasters. Going to Joe Cronin. I want to show y'all Fightful and Good My Work commentary. some of my
Jack
favorite
is
YouTubers
a
going
gig
on here.
worker's best friend. You might think their spouse or dog is...
Let's pitch by my doorstep. Life is beautiful.
It did feel like there, of course, so Punk wanted to know why the cousins are out there instead of Reigns doing his dirty work as usual. And Jimmy said it wasn't about Reigns, it was about respect. And he said that
Punk humiliate Usos. McAfee quit WWE.
they disrespected their late uncle, who has no voice. And Jimmy told Punk to apologize. And Punk said that Jimmy's right. They're friends. He respects Sika, but he knew Alpha even better. And he said that he learned from Alpha, and he respects the Samoans, and they respect him. But there's one son of a bitch that hasn't, and that's Roman Reigns. And Punk then brought up how Sika, if Sika could look down on everything, if the Usos are spiritual and they believe that, Punk said that Sika can see the same things Punk does. That Reigns is a backstabbing, gaslighting, plastic politician. Jay cut him off, once again saying it wasn't about Reigns, and they just need to hear the words, "I'm sorry." Punk then shook their hands and did say he was sorry. He was sorry that Roman Reigns treated them like garbage and never apologized to them, never apologized for what he said about Dusty Rhodes. And then Punk called the Usos Roman Reigns' young boys. And Jay responded by shoving Punk, and Jimmy punched Punk right in the face. Usos walked out, and the plot definitely thickened here as we head into WrestleMania. I thought it was a great interview, a great segment without Roman Reigns there. I love the Usos being brought into the mix to heat things up for WrestleMania. Thumbs up for the end. I thought it was great. Overall, I thought Raw was a good show. I thought the main event segment was very strong. I really liked the Oba Femi match with Rusev. Even though it was basic, it built up Oba as a big deal. I enjoyed the Judgment Day segment with Finn Balor, officially kicking Balor out of the group. So we definitely got some strong content.
Do you think somebody here mentions Muted Mayday says Dijak, of course, of Retribution, said tweeted out my PT.
Yeah, the other thing on the show was Seth Rollins with the mass like group. So it kind of a version of Retribution. Hopefully not. I'm hoping that this is not another version of Retribution. I don't want to see that again. Look what happened 5-6 years ago when we had the whole Retribution debacle during the pandemic, during the Thunderdome, back when it was under Vin. And that was awful. That was a failure. And Retribution, they wasted 7 months of that. I don't want to see that again. I'm hoping this is a one-off. I don't know what we're doing with Seth Rollins, but who's he going to feud with? Like, what we're doing with Seth Rollins going to WrestleMania? Unless if Rollins can make a new group, we don't want to see that. I think the only thing with that, Judgment Day turn on Balor, the 7 with Seth Rollins, and the other thing was the ending with Usos and CM Punk.
Next time you see me, I'll be defending this belt, so I don't think she was meant to be here. She said last week, next time you see me, I'll be defending the belt.
Seeing a lot of speculation online about how this match is going to go. And one of the things I've been saying for a couple of weeks now, ever since Roman and Punk was made official, is that, you're not going to get this match at WrestleMania between these two like you got Punk and Finn Balor. You're not just going to get a match with a winner and a loser and the new champ or, the current champ retaining, celebrating with pyro, and then the show goes off the air. That's it. You're going to need a story beat. You're going to need a swerve. You're going to need a surprise. You're going to need something. And that something may very well be a bloodline reunion, which I know a lot of people are going to instantly reject, but it might be what they're doing. If they do it, I don't think it's going to be a 4-year-long angle like it was last time, but something has got to happen in that Punk and Roman match at WrestleMania. It's just not WrestleMania main event worthy if these two guys go out and just have a kind of a boring one-on-one match with a clean finish. We're not going to get that. Something's going to happen. Somebody's going to turn. Alliance.
I think the only clean finish should be Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. Punk and Roman Reigns, it shouldn't be. Now, we didn't get that last year with John Cena and Cody wasn't really a clean finish, but that was a lame ending. And nobody asked for Travis Scott. I mean, The Rock didn't get involved because he fucked it up. But here, something had to happen in that main event. And for Cody and Randy, no, I think it should be a clean finish. And then Randy Orton turns heel on Cody Rhodes, and then the storyline continues.
Going to be formed or shattered. Something like that is going to go down, and they're kind of planting a few seeds to that now with Punk raising the ire of some other Samoan family members with his comments. So Roman Reigns will be on the show next week. Like we said last week in the Raw review, when Roman Reigns does come back onto TV, CM Punk is going to get a receipt. And he's going to get a receipt in the form of an insult to the beloved Larry. I think Roman Reigns is going to bark back with something about Punk's dog, since Punk brought up Sika. So we got that kind of in the main event segment tonight. We will be talking a lot about that later in the opening segment. Ain't no party like a masked man party, that's for sure. We got a big masked man party to open up the show with Seth Rollins. We'll talk about Obafemi and Rusev, what happened there. Also, brand new #1 contender for AJ Lee's Intercontinental title. We learned that. And a few other things to talk about, including what appears to be an official babyface turn now for Finn Balor, as he has been booted out of the Judgment Day. That whole segment took place on Raw tonight as well. So overall, I thought it was an okay show. There wasn't a ton of spectacular things advertised, but I felt like for the purposes of WrestleMania, they were going to do enough to kind of further that stuff. So we got to come up here and do a Raw review every week between now and WrestleMania, because these are going to be really important shows, especially next week. Next week, I expect to really have things boil over with CM Punk and Roman Reigns, and Brock Lesnar is due back next week. And I have been very adamant about the next time he's on TV, somebody answers his open challenge. If they drag this shit out and nobody comes out there until 2 weeks before WrestleMania, that's going to essentially bury your entire locker room. Obafemi, I don't even think should wait until next week. After he beat Rusev tonight, he should have gotten on the mic and say, "Yo, Brock, I'll see you next week, boy." But he didn't. So I'm hoping that next week Obafemi is the one that comes out. But if Brock is in that ring next week and nobody comes out, Greg is going to have a big problem with that. A massive problem with that. And I don't often scream and yell and get pissed and go on rants. Too old for that shit now. But that's going to piss me off. So somebody better come out next week when Brock Lesnar is there. Also tonight, in addition to the Raw results, we're going to talk about the big news coming out of AEW today, as they are launching, prior to Revolution, they're going to be launching My AEW, which is going to be an international streaming service. And a little bit of that stuff is also available to us.
9.
Alright, hold on.
9. I mean, it's our best deal ever.
Oh, god damn it, man. Jeez, I hate the goddamn commercials.
Actually use soap or opera. You know, they don't sing.
There's Wheezy Blonde. That's another podcaster. Now going to Anthony Salcedo.
Book provided the audience a unique perspective. This was a...
He's brought up Roman not being there, but he's also brought up he's needed help, right? And he emphasized that. Now you've got the cavalry in the form of the Usos, who, you know, by the way, I mean, Jey Uso's become such a bigger star post-Bloodline. I mean, the Bloodline helped launch him, but he's become such a bigger star that you're not just, you know, throwing Roman Reigns as lackeys into the mix either. You're throwing bona fide stars in the game and on the scene. So it makes the road to WrestleMania more interesting. And I believe, if the schedule's correct, Roman Reigns will be showing up for work next week. So you can add that too.
I think he's showing up every week now, every Monday. I think you read the schedule last time, and I think it was every week starting next week. Yeah, man. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, ride the wave. You know what? I know I'm gonna sound like a heel right now, but I want them to really ride the wave. Maybe continue to push it. I want CM Punk full heel turn. I feel like after all of the buzz that line got out of people saying it was unnecessary, it was disrespectful, it was low, you name it, all of the things, for all of those reasons, I think that CM Punk needs to follow that natural line and turn full-on heel. Like we've said, they're both towing the line here. that's what I want to see. So we'll see if they go that direction. But we got a couple of super chats here. Let's see what you guys are saying. We got Henry Kiernan who says, "Did Gunther retire Pat? Does that count?" So Robin, before all of this stuff happened with CM Punk, we were actually on the topic of Pat McAfee because Pat McAfee basically said he doesn't know when he's going to come back to WWE. I think he's feeling a little burnt out from all of his 1 million jobs that he has. So Henry's doing a play on, he did wrestle Gunther. Hey, he did wrestle Gunther. That was like the last big thing that he did. So maybe you could argue that Gunther retired him.
Though those comments from Pat McAfee struck me like someone who's going to be calling WrestleMania this year.
Probably. Probably.
Especially with the first hours being on ESPN and everything. So I wouldn't quite call it a career, but it's a good connection there. And if he does indeed stay retired from the booth, Gunther is within his rights to claim.
Thank you, Henry. We got Steven Marchulli here who says, "I smell a bloodline reunion at WrestleMania. The band gets back together to help Roman." How important do you think it is for Roman to have the Usos alongside him?
I don't know. We've seen him show up, and he didn't need the Usos to generate the buzz with those promos with CM Punk. So I think need is a strong word. And the one thing I would caution against is using it as a crutch, because you don't just go, "Oh, look, it's the bloodline," because the bloodline worked for so long, right? So you don't want to just say, "Oh, we'll just go back to that because it worked." But if they work it in naturally, like they did, tonight, that made perfect sense. Exactly, totally justified, no holes in the logic. Then it's an addition to Roman Reigns and his aura and what his next reign could look like. You just don't want it to feel like a repeat. You have to make sure it's a remix rather than a repeat.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you, Steven. We got Rev Rasheen Stewart who says, "Will John Cena be in the 2026 WWE Hall of Fame?" I feel, look, I'm going to say no, and the reason I say no is because they kind of have to save their headliners as they go on, and right now you already got Stephanie McMahon, you got AJ Styles. To me, that feels big enough so that, hey, if we want to hold off on John Cena till 2027, then okay, you could do that. Like, you don't have to go right now all in, because you do got some pretty big two names already to headline the Hall of Fame. So I'm going to say no. I think they can hold off on it just a little bit longer. Thank you so much. We got Guitar Junkie who says it's about blood. Drop him Usos. You see, the people, or at least some people, are definitely going to be siding with the Usos here. We got Uncle Don here who says, "Great segment with all the callbacks. Punk still king of promos." I also did like when he did make that mention of, like, when you're with me, you got to raise the bar, not just physically in the ring, but also verbally. Oh, I thought that was really good too. Thank you, Uncle Don. We got Steven Marchulli here who says, "Hot take alert. CM Punk was right. Roman was a true heel. It's about him since SummerSlam return after loss to Cody." Like, he's right in a lot of the things a lot of the criticism of Roman Reigns, but was he right to bring up the line? No. That part did definitely feel like he was reaching. But everything else, though, that he has said about Roman Reigns, you can argue that he's right.
Yeah, it felt out of nowhere in the framework of their feud. It's just like, when's the last time anybody brought up like Roman's pops like that? Like I don't even, you hear about the bloodline and the family tree and all that. We know, even with Cody back at the 40 bill, that was a thing. So you know it's a point of contention for them and how important family is, and obviously when somebody passes, it's even more so. But with Cody, he's so associated with his dad specifically, that like the dusty thing.
Tax Act offers an accuracy guarantee, so you don't have to worry about your taxes. So now you can worry about the real threat.
It would work with the Roman family tree and all that, but it never seems solely focused on his dad or anything like that. It just felt like a random low blow.
Can you imagine if me and you right now were arguing about, like, whatever, like something wrestling related, and then you were like, "Yeah, well, Denise, your dad died, whatever." I'd be like, "What the fuck? Why are you bringing that up?" shit like that. Like, that's what that felt like. Like, you know, it just felt weird. Anyway, thank you, Steven. But I love that it got people talking, though. I love that part of it. And I can't wait to, like, I'm excited to hear Roman Reigns' rebuttal to that. We got Polarizer372 who says, shit is crash out. Jay finally coming back. I hope so. Heel Jay was better. I don't know about Royce, but if everyone says he could be good with Dom, cool. Yeah, so we've, another big part that we're going to get into for today is that Finn Balor has been betrayed by the entire Judgment Day, which means that now it's Dom, Dominic, JD, Liv, Raquel. We don't know where Roxanne is going to stand because don't forget that Finn brought her in. But also, that means that we're probably going to have a new member added to the Judgment Day and, you know, create this new version of the Judgment Day. People have been throwing out names, you know, Royce Keys, we've heard Ethan Page, I threw out Ricky Saints. There can really be anyone to, like, just start to stamp this new Dominic Mysterio ran Judgment Day. Is there anybody that you think could be added to it, or are you just kind of like whoever?
I wasn't thinking of the additions as much as the subtraction tonight because it was a long time coming, right? And you have to give the Judgment Day some credit in retrospect. They've been there for a minute. I mean, factions, they'll fizzle out a lot of times. This one has stood its ground, but that needed to happen. You needed to get that Dom and Finn Balor feud kicked into high gear, and it was well executed. You know, it's been simmering for a minute, and then finally Dom's looking for him. You know, where's Finn? They get in the ring. Finn's actually the one, I don't know if you want to say he betrayed them, but he's the one that sort of incited that, right? And then he catches the beat down. But yeah, as far as new members of the Judgment Day, I mean, those names you see, Ricky Saints seems to fit the vibe and the motif. I didn't think of Royce Keys, but we don't know what he's going to do. I'm imagining he's going to show up after WrestleMania, if I had to guess. That they might be waiting for these stories to settle and then give him a fresh new entryway. But yeah, I was more thinking about the way it came apart than the additions. I didn't know they had to specifically replace him, but it makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm more so just excited that we're finally seeing this all come to an end. I mean, we have been wanting to see Finn Balor taken more seriously, presented more seriously. People want to see the Demon. They have been teasing this forever, Robin. Like, this isn't a 6-month thing. Like, they started planting the seeds for Finn and Dom and this whole thing, I feel like a year ago. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but it really, really does feel like a long time. So the fact that we're finally here and now, and that this is happening, that's what I care about, that it's finally actually being put into motion. And, you know, hey, we're making our way into WrestleMania for this, but I'm more so just looking forward to seeing what credibility we can kind of build right back up for Finn, because he should be somebody that is in that main title picture. And yes, he did have a match, 2 matches against CM Punk, but I do think, like, he should kind of, like, remain in that atmosphere where you're talking about Finn with the top guys on Monday Night Raw, like your Seth Rollins, like all of those people, but we got to kind of get him back up there. And I think that this feud with Dominic, that could be it. That could be the thing to start getting the ball rolling. We got Guitar Junkie here who says Usos need some Blue Chew because they look soft in that segment. We needed a Samoan beat down. I mean, they did at least finish it with a bang, you know?
Yeah. I don't know why they look soft in that segment. They were reasonable and justified. They were reasonable.
They were like, oh, apologize. And they were like, maybe Guitar Junkie is looking at this in the way of like, I ain't even going to ask for an apology. I'm just going to F you up.
But that's where they are at character-wise, and they've been friendly with the dude before, right? So it made sense for them to be like, yo, you're out of pocket. We're here to check you. And then, you know, you better check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Yeah,
which is what happened at the end there.
Nah, bro, if it was me and someone said that to me or said that about one of my family members, I would walk out there like just dead serious, keeping eye contact, run in the ring and throw down. Like, that was what I would do. We got Jeff Worth here. It says, it's not popping up. Take Blue Chew. Hey, if you want it to pop, Blue Chew, promo code Denise, all the way. Thank you, Jeff Worth. We got Rob from KW who says CM Punk brought up a good point, referring to Dusty. Yeah, it's kind of showing that Roman had disrespected Dusty. Mentioned alluded to his friendship with Cody Rhodes. That was a good point to bring up as well.
That's what about is it? What does that have to do? Like, you know, if I'm the Usos, why do I give a shit what Roman Reigns said about Dusty Rhodes or Cody Rhodes? You're talking about my family, bro. It has nothing to do with that.
You're like, it only matters when it's my family, damn it. I don't care about his family. It's my family.
Yeah, of course. In their viewpoint and vantage point, why would they give a shit about that? I don't understand.
Thank you, Rob. We got Hassan Bala here who says character work is great. Jimmy is underrated as Big Bro, and CM Punk playing off how obsessed he is with Roman. Like, bro, just apologizing pissed me off. I just love Jimmy Uso in this because, like, Jay was like, you know, I'm ready to throw down. Like, if he wasn't here holding me back, I would fight you. But Jimmy was you know, I'm serious right now, and you really pissed me off, and you crossed the line. That was the vibe that Jimmy brought, and that was the part that, for me, kind of took it to that next level.
Yeah, I mean, he was more the voice of reason, and, you know, measured in the delivery, and I think somebody referred to it in the chat before, but Jay was crashing out.
Yeah, he was. He was. Thank you, Hassan. We got JM here. Says Serious Jay is one of the best characters. I do prefer when he is serious. Well, I don't want to say prefer because I like him both ways, but when he is serious, it's a fresh new way of looking at Jay because usually everyone looks at him and he's just like the yeet man, right? He's out there and he's eating all of that. But when you add some more dimension to him, you know, like when he won, what was it? When he won the Rumble, I forgot if it was when he won the Rumble or when he won the title. Remember when he won the title and then Monday Night Raw afterwards he came out and he cut this very like emotional promo? Oh, I loved that. I love seeing that side of Jey Uso. So anytime we see something that isn't just he and that adds more depth to who he is and you get to see an inner side of Jey Uso, I think that always just sells very nicely. Thank you, JM. We got Anthony Giuliano here who says maybe we'll get the final boss again and we will get the slap like he did to Cody. Thank you, Anthony. We got Josh Gilbert. Hey, Josh, thank you for the super chat. He says, the Judgment Day story has carried Raw for 4 years straight as the best consistent story. Finn versus Dom is the match I'm looking forward to the most for WrestleMania and will steal the show. Flowers earned. Well, they're both. I really think that they can mesh very well. Finn is a very extraordinary wrestler. Dominic has improved a lot, so I do think that both of them could go in there in the ring and actually mix it up and have a good match. I'm pretty sure their match will have a lot of involvement. I'm sure, you know, everybody is going to get their hands dirty. You know, JD, Liv, Raquel, like we saw them throw shots into Finn Balor today. Them getting involved in Dominic's matches would be nothing new because they got involved in his match against John Cena at Survivor Series. So, yeah, I can definitely see this being a good wrestling match, but also it's going to be one with those added shenanigans to it.
It just has a lot of heat built into it and a long, slow build built into it. So it's, you know, the kind of match that is a WrestleMania match in that sense. Like, it's not a WrestleMania match in the sense of, like, this is what we're selling the card on, the biggest names, whatever. But it's a WrestleMania match in the sense of, this has been a storyline for a long time. It's been a breakup that's been brewing for a long time. It's an actual feud with long-term storytelling that is built to pay off at the biggest event. So I see why they brought it to a head right now.
I was laughing too because I was remembering that coming off of last year's WrestleMania, I seriously thought that we were going to see the year of Dominic Mysterio turning babyface, and then it just never happened. Oh my God, I read the card so wrong last year. Thank you, Josh. We got Luis A. Mendez here who says, now that the Usos confronted CM Punk, I wonder if this means we can get a serious Jey Uso again. He has to be serious, like the whole way through for this, because this is, like we said, this is about blood, this is about family. And not only that, but he also insulted them in their relationship with Roman Reigns too by calling them young boys. That's very insulting. Like, the Usos ain't out here washing balls. Come on now, let's go. That's terrible. We got Rob from KW who says, and his comment is no worse than Drew burning Cody's pic with Dusty. That is another thing we brought up last week too, didn't we? We were talking about how, like, Drew McIntyre has gotten there. He burned a photo of Cody with his father.
But what do we keep talking about Cody's dad and Pop's irrelevant?
It's more of like, okay, did CM Punk cross the line or not, if we've also seen Drew McIntyre do it.
But Drew McIntyre's also a heelish dick character.
Was almost not gonna really go for it until Lyra convinced her to.
Yeah, I mean, a good match. A lot of wrestling time on TV, right? You know, for those who complain about that how she builds.
I was like, not even myself. I shriveled down back to a little girl. Oh my god, I fell in love. I was so in love that day. I was in the clouds, like in the clouds. Thank you, Sleaze Boy. Are you judging me, Robin? I feel like I'm being judged.
I was just thinking who's more famous, you or Sabrina, and I.
This Saturday is my first ever live show, March 14th at the Hollywood Improv. My guest is going to be Willow Nightingale, and I also learned that we are down to the fine
Coconut Castaway deodorant. Attack your steak at drsquatch.com.
Triple H need to make it start feeling like WrestleMania. They're waiting for that Mania season on Raw.
Well, I would imagine between Raquel and Liv is not on the show. Again, you're. And so this week, the Usos had an issue with that. And they wanted CM Punk to apologize. They wanted him to apologize for what he said last week. And Punk just could not bring himself to apologize. And it was actually, I thought, a very strong segment. I thought that, and one of the reasons it was very strong is because both sides, you can see their perspective, right? You can see where the Usos would have a right to be upset with Punk over what he said, but also Punk made some good points in his promo as well tonight about why he shouldn't have to apologize. How come I have to apologize, but Roman has made comments before? Roman has dissed the late American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, my mentor, Cody's dad. He doesn't have to apologize for that, but I have to apologize for what I said. And we got to see the Usos in a situation where we were actually seeing them in a serious way. This was not about running it back. This was not about anything. This was not about yeeting. This was not about any of that. And so I thought it was effective. Because when Roman Reigns is not on the show, again, you're limited in what you can do. People want to see Roman and Punk. They don't want to see Punk and the Usos. They don't want to see Punk, just looking into the camera. Roman's not here, so what do? So they're bringing in the other family members into it. And I thought that was an interesting approach. I thought it was an effective approach to take. But it also leaves me wondering if we are going to see a reunion at the end of WrestleMania. Are they so devoid of ideas and so desperate to go back to the glory days of 2022 and 2023 that they are going to reunite the OG bloodline? Is that what we are going to see at the close of WrestleMania this year? Certainly left you with that impression as a possibility. Could very well happen. That and the Judgment Day segment on tonight's show, those are the two strongest segments on Raw. I feel like we have been waiting years, literally years, for what we saw tonight. Finn Balor is one of the early members of the Judgment Day. He's not one of the OG members, but when Edge got kicked out, Finn Balor basically took his spot, and it's been Finn Balor in the Judgment Day now for years and years. And there have been teases now for about as long of discord, I guess, between Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio. There have been teases up and down the show for the longest time now that things that were at some point going to go sideways with these two. Either Dom would get bounced or Balor would get bounced. Tonight it was Finn Balor. Last week when Dominic lost his championship to Penta, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Finn Balor has been excommunicated from the Judgment Day. He was beaten down by his family, and that now paves the way for the obvious WrestleMania match. I don't know, maybe they want to throw JD McDonough in there, but the obvious match between Finn Balor and Dominic for WrestleMania. That seems to be where we are headed with that. It was again, a very effective angle, I thought, for what they were trying to do, and it was certainly a long time coming. So those were really the two big things on the show. We also had a gauntlet match that went for over 20 minutes to decide the number one contender for the Women's Intercontinental title. That match is going to be taking place next week. Bayley is getting a championship match. She's not winning a championship, but she is getting a championship match next week. And we had Penta's first defense of his Intercontinental title against El Grande Americano. Still stuck in the Americano vortex. I feel like I have been watching some variation of this match now for almost a year. This is ridiculous. It has to stop. Like, it just has to come to an end. At some point, like, what are we doing here? Is there no one else in the mid-card on Monday Night Raw for this man to fight with? Please, I beg of you. The surplus of talent they have in this company, and I just feel like I'm watching the same matches over and over again, only now Penta has a belt. Punk's segment was strong. Like I said, the Judgment Day angle was very simple but effective. The rest of the show, it just felt like it was there. Yeah, the rest of the show was just there. I'm still waiting for it to really... I mean, outside of the Punk and Roman stuff, I'm still waiting for it to feel like WrestleMania. I still don't get that feeling yet. We're about 6 weeks away. Again, next week we get Roman Reigns back on the show. Brock Lesnar is back on the show. He's got his open challenge that we know about. Maybe things will start to feel a little bit different at that point. But for tonight, it was a mixed bag. But definitely some stuff to, I think, like and to build upon as we head into Las Vegas in a few weeks. This is your Raw on Netflix review. It is Monday night. It is March 9th, 2026. I am the Solemn Monster. I thank you for joining me here on a Monday night. Like and subscribe. Super chats are open, and you will see them popping up on your screen.
Look at Richie Rich
Oh,
over here.
my
throwing
God.
all this money on me.
Look who it is.
I just want you to know, I think you rock. I don't mean The Rock, A-Rock, you rock. And I just wanted you to know that.
So you are found guilty.
It is the Portland pop star. Paul Hamilton was front and center. He was dead center on the hard cam, front row on SmackDown, because they were in Portland on Friday night. And this man was representing the sound off. He had the shirt. He had the sign. I love it. And now we got the $100. Holy shit indeed. Thank you, Salamanca, for getting us through every episode, good or bad. You're the GOAT from the Portland pop star.
So if he is found guilty,
Paul, you know that you are always appreciated around these parts. Paul is an OG. Paul's awesome. And also a genuinely good human being, which makes it all the more better. So, Paul, I thank you. Getting us started the right way here this week. So anyway, get those super chats on in, and if we get any other ones, we already had some, but if we get any other ones from this point on, I will be reading them, questions, comments, send them on in. Also, just a quick reminder, because tomorrow is Tuesday, which means a brand new episode. I don't even know what I'm saying. Being the Booker. We will be booking the being. No, we will be being the Booker later on here in the stream. 5:15 is the goal. Right, we found the masked man who was Seth Rollins. He pulled the mask off, and it was Seth, and he got a big pop. I'm not sure why any of this was necessary. And Adam Pearce basically said the same thing. He said that, look, you and I have known each other a long time. You didn't have to go through this whole charade here. So he told Rollins, look, you and I, we see eye to eye in that we're not fond of the vision, okay? We have that in common. But the masked man showing up and attacking every single week, this was unacceptable. And would you believe that simply for all of these masked men running out to the ring, the crowd burst into a chant of holy shit. This is what got a holy shit chant on this show. Think of all the things that you could chant holy shit for any given week on the show. This is what they chanted for. So again, if you were wondering what the meaning of these chants are at this point here, in WWE, they don't really mean much. They really don't. When you start chanting holy shit for something like this, it means absolutely. It has lost all meaning and all value. I'm sorry. This is the crap they get to chant. Unbelievable. So then they got into the ring, and same thing. Said that, look, you and I have known each other. Use the heels so they don't know where Seth Rollins is. And then they all leave the ring, and Rollins is gone. We don't know which masked man he is, but they all vanish and they all disappear into the crowd. Rollins is nowhere to be found. You know what this reminds me of? You used to watch the Ninja Turtles cartoon or even the movies, the live-action movies. When they would throw I don't even know what it was, that white thing, that white ball or whatever, they would throw it down on the ground. So LA Knight's theme music hits because of course it does. The Vision is out there. We're not allowed to have an LA Knight segment on the show unless the Vision is involved. So LA Knight comes to the ring to fight the Vision. Stop me if you've heard this before. I feel like you've heard me say that many times over the last 9 months. But he's back out there to fight the Vision. And the heels got the better of him until Jey Uso's music hits. And so Jimmy and Jay, they come out to help LA Knight clear the ring, or at least clear Austin Theory from the ring. Yes, the smoke bomb, thank you. Take it anymore. I can't take it. No more ninjas. So we had ninjas back on the show today. Seth Rollins now has a band of ninjas. Maybe this is going to be his new faction going forward. So anyway, the Usos, they clear Austin Theory from the ring. I think we actually might have something to say. But if you watch the closing segment, it was Jay who was all fired up, and Jimmy was the calm one. It's kind of interesting. So that distraction, though, was enough for Io to catch Raquel with an inside cradle, and she eliminates Raquel right around the 10-minute mark. Ahead of the commercial break, they showed a slow-mo path to WrestleMania right now. Rhea Ripley won the Elimination Chamber. Rhea Ripley is wrestling Jade Cargill. We know that already. That takes Io out of the tag team scene. What does that leave her with? I would love to see Io and Asuka one-on-one. They did nothing, though, in this gauntlet match to even tease the possibility that that was a match they were looking at. So I'm left to wonder, what the hell are they going to do with her? I really hope we get Io and Asuka. And, the idea that I was thinking of is okay, where do all these pieces fit? Io against Asuka. Kairi doesn't have to wrestle, but Kairi will be a very important part of that story. Or maybe Kairi will finally kind of break free from the chains of Asuka at WrestleMania. And it takes, Io and Io beating Asuka to help make that happen. I think you can tell that story, but there was no indication of that at all on this show. Short of that, I have no idea. I have no idea what else you would do logically with Io at WrestleMania. And it would be a sin for them not to have something meaningful for her to do on that show. She's one of the best they have. Triple H, every time he talks about her, you watch, Unreal, he glows about her. Man, if God forbid something ever happened to the roster, if you told me I had Io Sky, I know I'd be okay. That's high praise. Coming from the guy who's running the show, you would think that, he would have a better role for her. And right now, it's not really well defined. So we got to work on that.
I thought it was a great storyline.
And after this, they replayed highlights from last week's segment, show closing segment, with Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Punk telling Roman, "I'm going to bury you next to your father."
Sky made her debut.
And they said that Punk would be here live tonight. Now, I have no idea why they did not mention this in the preview for the show. Yeah, I put the preview together here for the stream early, like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. And I'm checking WWE.com, I'm checking WWE's Twitter page. They announced 3 things for tonight's show. They announced the Intercontinental title match, they announced the Gauntlet, and what else did they announce? They announced... There was one other thing they announced. I forgot what the other thing was. Oh, Obafemi and Rusev. And that was it. And they were without some of their heavy hitters, right? Roman was not on the show, AJ Lee was not on the show, Brock Lesnar was not on the show. You would think that they would let you know that the World Heavyweight Champion, CM Punk, was going to be on the show, and there was no mention of Punk anywhere in the preview. It was just very odd to me. Because I remember looking at the preview going, this can't be it. And there was no mention of Punk, but they indicated he would be here later on in the show. I don't know why you wouldn't advertise that, but that's what they did. So after a commercial break, they aired the very end, the highlights of the very end of the promo that Natty did during the commercial break. She was being interviewed by Byron Saxton on the stage, and at the very end of her promo, she mentioned Maxine Dupree by name, and she got blasted by Maxine from behind. And that was it. Then it was backstage, where OG Americano was walking, when he was confronted by Danhausen, who played a pivotal role last week, if you remember, before the IC title match on last week's show. And Danhausen noticed that Americano wore a mask, and he had a great idea. He could wear a mask also. And then he wanted to try Gable's on, and like, man, that was a really good promo. Obviously, English is not his first language, but he can speak it, and he just resonates with. I really hope he's not hurt. They can ill afford another one of these injuries right now, but boy, would that suck. Thankfully, when they came back, Penta seemed okay. Maybe he just tweaked it. So Americano came off the middle rope late in the.
Cup noodles protein. Fuel for whatever. Do you eat cup?
When it comes to your kids, safety comes first.
And the Usos. This seemingly has angered the internet wrestling community. This has angered CageMatch.net and all the virgins that live over on Reddit. Don't know what to tell you, man. I'm not going to lose sleep over Cody Rhodes winning the WWE Championship once again, man. Deal with it. We had to live through John Cena. We had to live through babyface Shawn Michaels, or at least I had to. Heel Shawn Michaels was a lot better. We had to live through the fucking big dog, Roman Reigns. Remember that? Yet somehow, the IWC wants to convince me that Cody Rhodes winning the title on Friday was worse than any one of those situations. I'm glad I'm not a part of the IWC and that I'm labeled exile. I don't want to be around such sheer stupidity. We will definitely talk about that tomorrow on TNT because I'm sure me and the Solomons have a lot to say. But I'm glad to be back with you guys here on Monday night. House of Glory was great on Friday night, and I did catch up with SmackDown on the plane ride home on Saturday morning, and I did upload a video for you guys yesterday that absolutely went crazy, went bonkers. I saw several people clipping the video yesterday on social media, and I had a lot I wanted to get off my chest. And we talked about the story about Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre and the fact that Cody won the title and his title run now being disliked botted on YouTube. I haven't checked it today, but it's nearing the expiration date of when YouTube usually reverses such a suspicious activity. See what happens with that. But I did upload that, so please go and check that out. Really great stuff over there. Again, I want to thank you guys for being here tonight. I want to thank everybody that came up to us at the show on Friday night at Logan Square Auditorium. Really great turnout. We were sold out. Great show. Had a lot of great conversations. And I'm looking forward to the next one on March 21st, Brentwood on Long Island. We are going to do another one very, very soon. So hopefully I see you guys out there. And then the big one in Las Vegas. I already booked my ticket for Vegas. I will be out there for 2 days. I will be out there Wednesday and Thursday, flying home Friday. It's going to be quite the week. So I will be coming to Vegas, and I will be at the House of Glory show at the Palms Casino. So mark that on your calendars. I will be coming to Vegas very, very soon. Speaking of Vegas, WWE tonight, they finally forwarded the Judgment Day storyline. And the Judgment Day finally has turned that page to the next chapter. It's been forever since Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio have started to develop this tension. And we all wondered what was going on. WWE started it, then they stopped it, then they moved away from it completely. Balor and JD McDonough went on to win the Tag Team Championships. Dominic Mysterio had 2 runs as Intercontinental Champion. And we finally have turned that page to the next chapter. It all started last week when Dominic Mysterio lost the Intercontinental title to Penta because of Finn Balor wanting Dominic to do it on his own. Dominic asked JD McDonough to go get the bell hammer from the timekeeper's area. He did in fact go get the bell hammer. Finn Balor got up, And before J.D. McDonough could hand it to Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor stopped him from doing so, which basically led to the conclusion of the match and Dominic Mysterio losing the Intercontinental Championship. It was at that point where we all knew what was going to happen. It was at that point where we knew Finn Balor was fucked in the Judgment Day. Come to tonight. We didn't hear anything from Balor at the start of the show. Dominic Mysterio rushes into the Judgment Day clubhouse after Raquel Rodriguez was ceremoniously eliminated from the women's #1 contender Intercontinental Championship gauntlet match that basically took the majority of the first hour of the show. Liv Morgan also got her ass beaten by Stephanie Becaire trying to help Raquel Rodriguez in that same gauntlet match. So the Judgment Day didn't have a good night. They did not have a good night. Dominic rushes into the Judgment Day clubhouse. He's looking for Finn Balor. Balor's nowhere to be found. J.D. McDonough goes and finds him. Dominic Mysterio says, I have a lot that I want to say, and I'm going to go out to the ring to say it. Dominic didn't want to air the Judgment Day dirty laundry in the ring publicly in front of everybody. But then out comes Finn Balor. Balor basically was a father figure to Dominic Mysterio. Balor went on this crusade, this mini crusade, of wanting to win the World Heavyweight Championship because he wanted to prove something to himself. He wanted to get it done on his own. And he told the Judgment Day that he needs to do this on his own. Balor lost in Belfast, right in his backyard. And then he lost again at the Elimination Chamber. He went 0-2 against CM Punk. Balor wasn't happy about losing his opportunity at the World Heavyweight Championship, but he was content that he went out there and did it on his own. The outcome was given to him, and he did it on his own whether he won or he lost. In that aspect, he felt good about it. He wanted Dominic That's the way to be. He wants Dominic to grow up. He wants Dominic to grow up. He's still this outlaw, rebel son of a legend in Rey Mysterio. Doing what he wants, growing his hair out, got the porn mustache. He's got Liv Morgan, who may or may not be a bad influence on him. I mean, that's a very subjective thing. If you got Liv Morgan hanging around you, you're probably better off than most people on this planet. But Finn wanted Dominic to do it on his own. So one thing led to another. Shoving match happened. Dominic got pissed. And then we get a brawl between Dominic and Finn Balor. But the thing is, Balor was focused on Dominic Mysterio, but the rest of the Judgment Day he thought was going to act as family. J.D. McDonough threw the first blow. He stood with his family, which I'm actually quite surprised by. After all that Finn Balor has done for J.D. McDonough, Balor was the one that brought J.D. McDonough into the Judgment Day. And J.D. McDonough is sticking with family. Then Liv Morgan got involved, and Raquel Rodriguez got involved, and before all was said and done, Dominic Mysterio got involved, and it was a 4-on-1 beatdown.
Who told him to be in there?
Dominic went to get the bell hammer, which should have been given to him last week, but wasn't. If it was, he may have retained the Intercontinental Championship. So he took it this week, stuffed it in his boot like he wanted to do last week, and delivered a 619 to Finn Balor with the bell hammer stuck in his shoe. The Judgment Day finally put the nail in Finn Balor's coffin. Now, I don't know where this story is going to go. Obviously, we know that this is the program set for WrestleMania. I'm just happy that WWE finally fucking pulled the trigger on it because I didn't know when or if they were going to do it. I thought they might have waited till after WrestleMania to do it, but you can't leave Balor off the guard. He's been a focal point of the show for many, 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 many months. Or at least one of the focal points of the show. I mean, the Judgment you don't want to have your biggest young star in Dominic Mysterio on WrestleMania? Kind of stupid if not. So I'm glad WWE pulled the trigger. Glad they got the heel turn. Now we got 5 weeks to tell this story. And again, I don't know where they go outside the Dominic and Finn Balor match that's taking place at WrestleMania. Are we going to get 2 Judgment Day factions? Or maybe Judgment Day proper and then Balor coming back with some sort of club to back him up? I don't think this is one and done here. This is not one and done. That's typical WWE fucking writing. They don't know when to end anything. They don't know when to move on. If the Judgment Day isn't feuding with somebody, then Triple H is not happy. The Judgment Day is his baby. He looks at the Judgment Day as New Japan looked at the Bullet Club for all those years. It's basically what he looks when he sees the Judgment Day. He sees his version of the Bullet Club. And the Judgment Day largely has been a great faction that has given us some breakout stars. Liv Morgan, the best work she's ever done has been in the Judgment Day. Dominic Mysterio, his best work has been in the Judgment Day. Rhea Ripley's best work was in the Judgment Day. Damian Priest, his best work was done in the Judgment Day. Rhea Ripley has largely been the most popular athlete on the entire roster. Damian Priest, I can't say the same for. He's actually been lost since leaving the Judgment Day, which goes to show you how important the Judgment Day has been to the overall character development of some of these men and women. Roxanne Perez. We haven't really seen that ascension of Roxanne Perez yet, but it's going to happen in the next 6 to 12 months. This time next year, Roxanne Perez is going to be a much better version of Roxanne Perez than where we see her right now. And Raquel Rodriguez, I didn't really give her much of a shot when she joined the Judgment Day, but she's turned out the best work of her career inside the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day is the second most important faction in the modern WWE era because of what it's done to careers. I'm not looking for the makeup of a group. The Undisputed Era, to me, was the best stable that WWE has put together since the days of the Shield. That went nowhere. And now they're dead. So now you got the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day, when all is said and done, is going to be looked at as one of the most important factions in WWE history because of what they've done. And it all started with Adam Copeland. It all started with Adam Copeland. The X for Damian Priest, the X for Rhea Ripley. They got a banger theme song with The Other Side by Alter Bridge, which I dearly miss. And the makeup of the group doesn't even look the same as what Adam Copeland wanted the group to be. He wanted a completely different version. WWE wanted to take his version and add supernatural elements to it. The Judgment Day is basically Triple H's Bullet Club. Is this going to spawn 2 separate factions? Is Dominic now going to lead the Judgment Day? Is Finn Balor going to lead his own group? Because we got a couple of rumored New Japan talent coming on into WWE. Whether that's still happening or not remains to be seen. But I could see WWE having a faction warfare of sorts, with Balor leading his boys from Japan against the Judgment Day, and the rest of the Judgment Day led by Dominic Mysterio. All I know is, for sure, one thing. Dominic Mysterio is basically fucked at WrestleMania. Because Dominic Mysterio now is going to be responsible for dragging the Demon out of hiding, basically. And the Demon is going to ascend upon Las Vegas, and the Demon will rise from hell and basically destroy Dominic Mysterio at WrestleMania. It's basically what's going to happen. So I like what they did tonight. I thought it was a good angle with a lot of heat. Judgment Day got a lot of heat on it, and Balor can't help but be sympathetic towards Finn Balor, and this also was another turning point for Balor. How many years have we asked WWE to start taking Finn Balor to be a little bit more serious? Still waiting for that big singles push that was reported back early last year for Finn Balor. He's in line for a major push. We finally may be getting it. I thought what they did tonight was very good stuff. Very good stuff. Judgment Day, top 5 worst groups of all time. D-Jang is a fucking idiot in the chat. No, they are not. No, they are not. They are one of the more important groups of the modern era in WWE. And if you don't think so, clearly you're watching the show blind. Because you don't know a fucking thing and don't have a fucking clue. Get him out. Get him out. Get this stupidity out of my fucking chat. Get him out. That was the big thing that happened on tonight's show. The other big thing that happened on tonight's show was the ending segment. CM Punk and the comments that he made last week against Roman Reigns' father comes out and he basically said he didn't know how he was going to be greeted tonight with such a comment being made last week. So he went about business the way he usually does. And the Usos come on out wanting an apology from CM Punk. Now, Roman wasn't there this week, so it made all the sense in the world, instead of having Punk go out there and sell this program in the missing weeks where Roman isn't there all by himself, it made sense for WWE to send the Usos out there. And in this case, it made all the sense in the world, because they are, at the end of the day, family. And it made the bloodline, once again, showcase that blood is thicker than water. No matter what happened to Roman and the Usos, if you start fucking with the family, then you are going to fuck with all of them. And that's basically what happened tonight. Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso, they went out there, and I know the Usos get a lot of flack, and I know a lot of people shit on the Usos, but I don't think anybody can deny that when they are together, and when they are serious, and they mean business, and they put the eat shit away for at least 5 minutes, that the Usos are fucking great at what they do. There's been such a heavy reliance on selling merchandise and running it back and fucking eating and partying, and this led to, I genuinely believe, this led to Jey Uso being complacent. This led to Jey Uso being just very ordinary and basic. There wasn't really any drive to be better. Because at that point, when you got all these things happening, and they're giving him the Royal Rumble, and they're giving him the WrestleMania main event, and everybody's fucking eating over and over and over again, and we're running it back over and over and over again, and they give him these fucking cringy segments in a War Games stage or in a Royal Rumble. It's like, where else do you go from there? Like, Jey Uso knows that he's got the entire company's backing, and he doesn't need to do anything because what he's doing is fucking the pinnacle of what people strive for in this business. You're not going to convince me otherwise. Jey Uso got lazy, which is why, when we saw him wrestle, everybody held him under a fucking microscope and zoomed in big time on what he was doing or what he wasn't doing. But when Jey Uso is tasked with being serious, and when Jey is standing there next to Jimmy, who, honestly, low-key, is a great promo. Jimmy's a better promo than Jey. But they bring out the best in each other. Because when Jey is partying, Jimmy was always the one that wanted to be serious. Jimmy was never going to be like Jey and was never going to achieve the heights of Jey as a single. But when they're together, they are equal. When Jimmy speaks, Jey focuses. When Jimmy cuts his promo and is serious and is direct, Jey...
Meet Cancelina. She's a credit record. She doesn't know that canceling older credit cards when they're paid off can decrease the length of her history. Don't be like Cancelina. Learn how to avoid the records at creditrecords.com. Credit One Bank for what's ahead.
And they are serious. They are tops.
Punch you in the face.
What's the one thing missing from Jay's overall act? Is that intensity, is that fire, that anger,
Well, today is a
that
major
unadulterated raw Uso. Where did it go? All he needed to do was come out and be angry at Phil for talking about their uncle. I thought what they did tonight was tremendous. I thought what they did tonight was excellent television. And CM Punk, no matter what you think of CM Punk, he said one thing tonight, that there should be nobody in attendance watching the show on TV tonight, in the building there, in Seattle, or in this chat room. CM Punk said one thing tonight that everybody should absolutely, universally agree with, and if you don't, you're a fucking idiot. He makes whatever he does, he makes whatever show he's on better. Everything he does enhances everything around him. It's exactly what he said tonight. It is very difficult to disagree with Phil when it comes to that type of thing. He's done some of the best work of his career, coming out of AEW in that feud with MJF, and some of the stuff he winning the WWE Championship, and Drew McIntyre doing great work, and Jacob Fatu, a rising star on SmackDown, Randy Orton winning the Elimination Chamber. How many other people on the WrestleMania card are making WrestleMania feel like WrestleMania? There's only one name that's been there every single week doing that, and that's CM Punk. We'll go over what was exactly said in that promo, and we'll break it down tonight right here on Off the Script. This is your Monday Night Raw review for Monday, March 9th, 2026. It's going to be a banger. Got a holy shit chant, chat. I've lost track. I've lost my mind, and I've lost track. Because I just don't...
The title was created because Roman Reigns shunned his championship chamber, and the same thing when the match was over, Balor lost, and they shook hands and showed respect to one another. So the seeds were already being planted for this to happen, right? The Balor babyface turn. We could see this coming for at least a couple of months now. So it's a very simple angle. I mean, it's not like we haven't seen these types of angles before. It was simple, but it was effective, and it gets us now to where we need to be. And I guess the question now is, as far as the future of the Judgment Day is concerned, do they end up adding a new member? I don't think they're going to end the Judgment Day anytime soon. I mean, I thought about, would they, because Balor's out, Raquel, it feels like she's not long for the Judgment Day, and then you're down to Liv, and Dom, and JD. I don't think they want to end the Judgment Day, and I'm not sure if I were them, I would want to end the Judgment Day either, because it's weird. Like, as tiresome as it sometimes feels, the Judgment Day has actually been, and we know how effective the Bloodline was, right? It's shining a light on Jey Uso, and Sami Zayn when he was part of the group, and introducing Solo Sikoa, right? It was a very important faction as far as character building, and getting other people over other than just Roman Reigns, other members of the family. The Judgment Day has introduced us to a lot of new personalities as well. And the Judgment Day is what really helped Damian Priest, and Rhea Ripley, and it put Finn Balor in a position where he could be featured in a way that he wasn't being featured. And then Liv Morgan eventually went from Rhea and Dom to Dom and Liv, and it has been very effective at getting certain people screen time and getting them over in a way that frankly they would not have been able to get over on their own. JD McDonough would not be in the position he's in right now. And again, I'm not making it sound like he's a main eventer, but even just the position that he's in, he would not be in that position right now if it wasn't for him being a part of the Judgment Day. Raquel Rodriguez, remember when Raquel was a babyface? And she was coming out on TV and her big thing was smile for the camera and then flex your back, right? Flex your back, show your back muscles, and that's all she was. What am I supposed to cheer for? What am I supposed to get behind there? Plain Jane. And she goes heel, she joins the Judgment Day. And the thing with the Judgment Day is they get so many segments on this show every single week. Multiple segments. So I would probably just cycle in and out new members and try to do the same thing with some other people that they've done with people like the ones I just mentioned and try to help get them over. I even said, and I don't know if this is, I don't think this is what they have in mind, but even someone like Danhausen, you know? Like, I could see Danhausen even being loosely affiliated with the Judgment Day. I guess right now he's doing his own thing, going from show to show, but, you know, I think you just got to look at the roster and look at some potential NXT call-ups and figure out who do you think would best benefit by being plugged into the Judgment Day.
You know, you should be
as
Judgment Day too.
You know, members come and go. Balor's out now. Do they replace him with someone? And if so, who is that person? Yeah, I keep thinking about Ethan Page because he recently lost his championship, North American Championship, and I think the AAA Mixed Tag belts as well. And there's talk that now he's going to be wrestling, he's going to be part of the NXT Championship picture, and it's like, man, this guy's been in NXT for over 2 years now. Like, are they ever going to call him up to the main roster? I still maintain there's stuff you could do with him and Chelsea on SmackDown. But I do think that someone like him could even benefit, you know, from being like the new de facto leader of the Judgment Day. But I mean, we could be here all day. There's any number of people you can plug into that spot.
WrestleMania, and that's a
So
shame.
it probably makes sense for them to continue it. I'm just not
These
sure
are two great talents. They have been
exactly who
cast
they
off
would have in
WrestleMania.
mind for it.
What a
But we
fucking
got to start
shame.
thinking about new members because I don't think Balor's going to be the only one going away. I think Raquel is going to be following soon. Backstage, Adam Pearce was talking to Javon Evans, praising him, you know, because not just because we're heading into WrestleMania. This is not a knock on Penta. I love Penta. This is not a knock. And they played this over footage of her when she was a young girl, and then with Frog Splash. So then Dom picks up the there. He hands it to JD, who drives it down numerous times into Balor's midsection, and then he lays it flat across Balor's chest, and Dom comes off the top with one more Frog Splash for good measure, and the remaining members of the Judgment Day are all celebrating in the ring together as Finn Balor lays there dead. Finally, we got some real movement with the Judgment Day. And now we can begin to build to Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio or some variation of that. Again, potentially maybe even involving JD McDonough, but probably Balor and Dom one-on-one at WrestleMania. My guess is we get Balor and Dom, and Balor is going to enter as the Demon because they'll think bringing back the Demon is going to be a big deal, and they can make money off the Demon. That's probably what we'll end up getting at WrestleMania. Finn Balor is now back to being a babyface. Now, we shouldn't be surprised by this because not just because we're heading into WrestleMania, but because the stuff with CM Punk is what set this up. He had the match in Belfast with Punk. They had a good match. When it was over, right, they kind of paid respect to each other. That bothered Liv Morgan. What are you doing palling around and listening to CM Punk? CM Punk was trying to tell Balor, look, you don't need these guys. You don't need these idiots. And that didn't make Liv Morgan very happy. So then Balor, of course, he attacked Punk again after that. That's why we got the rematch at Elimination Chamber. And the same thing, when the match was over, Balor lost. And they shook hands and showed respect to one another. So the seeds were already being planted for this to happen, right? The Balor baby. Oh, because Roman has family members, obviously, all over this show, all over this company. By having the Usos go out there and actually be serious for a change, right? They weren't out there to eat, have fun, and smile, and, you know, again, do all the things that the Usos do from week to week. They were serious. They had something serious that they could really sink their teeth into. And to me, that's when really they're at their best. I like the callback to Roman calling Dusty irrelevant. I believe he said that to Cody's face in a promo a few years ago. So I like that callback and Punk pointing out, like, it's okay for Roman to do that, but I make a comment about his father, and apparently the whole world is ready to burn down. Like, little hypocrisy there. But again, I think what I also liked about it is the fact that both sides were right. You know, both sides made good points about the other.
I'm about to end the video for a minute. I think I'm almost done here.
Sure thing. Go fuck yourself, okay? Fuck out of my chat. Guy is fucking cleared. WWE internally cleared him. He's not cleared on television per storyline, but the man is very much cleared. Otherwise, he wouldn't be active the way that he is. Jumping barricades and swinging chairs and fucking delivering curb stomps out there. Give me a break. Brock versus Seth. No. Nobody wants that. Who wants? You want to see Seth Rollins beat Brock Lesnar? Give me a fucking break. Who wants to see that? No. No, it's Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. After he destroyed Rusev tonight, I don't know why you aren't doing Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. Nobody wants to see Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar. Not a single fucking soul.
Yeah, we've been there, done
This
that.
segment was fucking cringe. Cringe, I tell you. Backstage, Jackie Redmond caught up with the Usos.
No, I don't think we're going to see The Rock. I don't think that means we're going to see The Rock on television. But I thought it was a very good closing segment here that now leads into Roman's return, another return, on the show next week. And we'll see what they do then. Because Roman obviously looked very angry at the end of Raw last week, so what is the receipt now that he will have for CM Punk? Is he going to bring up Larry the Dog? Is he gonna try to cut deep with Larry the Dog? Yeah, it was very sad because they posted on the WWE YouTube channel the other day. It was a vlog with CM Punk and AJ Lee. I think it was
Gauntlet match for the women in over 4 years. Nothing spells creatively lazy than a gauntlet match. Nothing spells creatively lazy than an open challenge. Nothing spells creatively lazy than throwing everybody into a meaningless battle royal. These are facts. Gauntlet matches are the cure for people not wanting to do their job. Same thing for a battle royal and same thing for an open challenge.
Alright, I'm gonna end the video. Hit that like button, leave a comment. Please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all the support. I'll be back more until next time.